Okay, now we're recording. So that's why I'm doing this for you guys, is I really believe that each one of you can control a lot of your own destiny. All right. And we've really broken this lesson down, or this program down, into 5 main components. And the first component we're talking about tonight is mindset. Next week we're going to be talking about, how to connect with people, connectivity, networking. I know when I talked to a bunch of you guys before tonight, you said your main goal for attending this was to learn how to be better networkers. And so we're going to talk about that next week. We're going to talk a little bit about, social media tricks, things to avoid, things to do on social media to help you gain attention in your job search. We're also going to talk about mentorship. And let me tell you something, mentorship is a big deal. Each one of you guys right now, need to start thinking about looking for a mentor. The sooner that you guys can start looking for a mentor, the better off you're going to be. Studies have proven that people with mentors exponentially succeed in their careers as opposed to people who don't. Matter of fact, if you look at it from a business perspective, business owners who don't have a mentor tend to fail. I think it was something like 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years for people who don't have mentors. 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years who don't have mentors. That stat flips for companies that do have mentors. 80% of companies that have a mentor succeed. Mentorship is so important because it allows you to draw on the experience of somebody else who's been there before you. Okay? And then, of course, the last thing we're going to talk about in this program here is, of course, mastermind groups and the importance of mastermind groups. But today we're going to start with mindset. And mindset is so important for you guys because it's really the starting point of everything. When athletes are getting ready to perform, right? They're going to the Super Bowl, they're in the NBA championships, whatever it is, the top athletes, before they even step on the court, go through a mental ritual, right? Whatever it could be. It could be listening to a certain type of music. It could be, putting a towel over their head and just focusing, whatever it is. It's all about mindset. And mindset is so important. And we're going to talk about that as we get going here, about different ways that we can have our mindsets that will allow us to succeed in the future. So if you guys have your workbooks out, we're going to go ahead and jump to the first slide here. Whoops. Here we go. And that is our 2 realities. All right. Each one of us live in 2 realities. We have a spiritual reality and we have a physical reality. Now, the spiritual reality, we're not talking about religion here. We're not talking about God. Okay. If you look up the dictionary for a spiritual reality, basically what it's going to tell you is a spiritual reality is anything that you cannot understand or sense with your 5 senses. All right. So, sight, smell, taste, touch, sound. If you can't understand it with your 5 senses, that is called a spiritual reality. That includes your emotions, that includes your desires, and that includes knowledge, the gathering of knowledge. Okay. Now, most of you guys remember the story I told the other night when I was at the class up there in A&M about my first year as an employee of my first big job that I got, and how that first year I had the mindset of, hey, I'm coming into work, I'm going to do my job, okay, and then I'm going to go home. That was my mindset. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do my job, what I thought was my job, and then I'm going to go home. That first year, I got a terrible employee review. Terrible employee review. Matter of fact, it said I was disconnected. It said I didn't work well with others. It says, basically that I wasn't doing my job. I thought I was doing my job, but it was basically saying that I wasn't doing my job. I didn't know it at the time, but a couple years later, I actually talked to my boss about that first review, and he told me that he was on the fence of whether or not he was going to fire me or not. He said he couldn't really make up his mind if he was going to fire me or not, and it happened to be a guy that I knew in our IT department that convinced him to give me 1 more year. All right. Now, I didn't know this at the time. So after I got that first review, I decided this would never happen again. I was embarrassed by it. I said, this is never going to happen again. And so I started to change my mindset from being, hey, I'm showing up to do what they told me I was supposed to do, to, hey, I'm showing up and I'm going to treat this like a business, right? This is my livelihood. This isn't just about me showing up and doing a job. This is about me going out there and making other people's lives easier. So I went out there and I started taking on projects that people had talked about but never got going. I went out there, I started networking with all the people inside the office building. I came to work early and I stayed late when I needed to. That change of mindset over the next 3 years put me in the top 5 to 10% of reviews in the entire company. Now, this is I think it was a $4 or $5 billion company at the time. So this is not a little company. And there was 500 employees. So you're talking about being the top 5% of a $5 billion company. Matter of fact, I was one of the few, very few, I think it was only 15 to 20 people who actually got a full raise and a full bonus my last year there. It was all because of the way I changed my mindset, right? It wasn't just the physical that I changed the way I thought about my work. Now, the physical reality is anything that we can understand with our 5 senses. So if you can see it, smell it, taste it, touch it, sound, those are all physical realities. So spiritual realities are emotions. It's like happiness is a spiritual reality. Mindset is a spiritual reality. Your desires, why you want things, are a spiritual reality, okay? The physical reality is like the table, this computer, the words I'm speaking, those are physical realities. This is a very important point. Our mindset is a spiritual reality that helps shape our physical reality. Okay? Our mindset is a spiritual reality that helps us shape our physical reality. Let me tell you a story real fast. Most of you guys probably have never heard of William Pierpont Langley. I'm sorry, Samuel Pierpont Langley. Okay? Samuel Pierpont Langley worked for the U.S. government in 1902. And he was given a huge budget. Langley worked at Harvard University. He was a professor at Harvard. He was given a huge budget to develop airplanes. He was given $50,000 at the time, which is a huge sum of money. He was told he could hire the best minds in the country, and his only job was to develop a flying airplane. Okay? Now, Langley had one mission. He wanted to be wealthy. He didn't care if it was an airplane. He didn't care what the government wanted him to do. He just wanted to be wealthy. He thought in physical terms. So he started on this project. Well, halfway through this project, these two brothers, the Orville and Wilbur Wright brothers, the Wright brothers, ended up building the first airplane. The reason now, Orville and Wilbur didn't have any college education. Matter of fact, they barely graduated high school. They didn't have anybody to work with them. They weren't the best qualified minds, but they developed the airplane faster than Samuel Langley. The reason being is Samuel Langley was so focused on the physical, he just wanted money. He didn't care about anything else. He didn't care about, the reality of what airplanes would do for human development, for connectivity from places that were far away, the ability to transverse the oceans, the ability to transverse from city to city in a fast manner. Orville and Wilbur Wright paid for their invention through their small little business. They spent every extra dollar they had in building the airplane. The reason being is they had the mindset that they wanted to change the world. Okay? That mindset led to a physical reality. It existed in their mind first. They believed it. They put action behind it, and it created a reality that the top minds in the U.S. government couldn't even do. Your mindset matters. Now, I wanted to bring on Michaela real quick. Some of you guys may know Michaela from last year. She was in the same class that you guys are in. And Michaela's been looking for work for can you hear me, Michaela? You on?
Yep, I'm here.
Cool. So, Michaela, I was going to ask you a couple questions like we talked about here, and I just kind of want to give you an opportunity to kind of share your current mindset versus what reality is right now as far as looking for a job, okay?
Okay.
So,
So
quick, how long ago did you graduate?
I graduated on August 14th, so what, about a month and a half ago now? Would be, yeah, August 14th, about a month and a half.
And when you were there at the college, they teach you how to go and look for work?
Well, we had a required internship that we had to complete. So, I mean, and not, I guess, look for work. They're kind of focused on making sure we found an internship opportunity so that we could complete those 12 credits and graduate. So that was kind of put into our curriculum from the start.
Mm-hmm.
So yes and no, I guess, would be the answer to that. We had opportunities via our eCampus learning system to scope out different internships within a College Station area, within a Houston area, but it was either, find an avenue that they're giving you, or you can go on your own and pursue something of a different company, different nature.
So
So it depends on the student.
first internship there. Your first internship.
Right. What was it? Is that what you're asking?
No, how'd you end up getting your first internship?
Oh, I coincidentally, my father knew somebody who knew somebody, and
Mm-hmm.
that sounds really immature, I know, but that's what happened. And I got help through my parents to find this internship, and that's what we did.
So did anything they teach you at the school help you get that first internship, or was it strictly somebody who knew somebody?
No, yeah, no, it was definitely it would walk in. I kind of, not to say anything, but I mean, when I was walking into the interview, they already kind of knew that they were going to hire me via the connection that we had. So I just had to sit there and smile.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about some of your expectations about corporate America and what kind of the reality was when you got there. What are some things that you thought would be um, how corporate America operated and how it actually operated? Tell us some of those differences.
Well, being around my father, who was in the corporate environment from, ever since, he just retired this past month, I did have a little bit of insight, to father-daughter, to bring your daughter to work day, about kind of what corporate attire was, corporate communication, how the flows, ins and outs go. But being as when I first got there and being in an internship where it wasn't, 500, a huge corporation that was only about 15 to 20 employees, the standard of communication and, email etiquette and all that was what I expected, and I'm proud to say that I was kind of on key with that. But I didn't know how much interpersonal connections actually play into a role of your credibility within that corporate environment. So, I mean, it didn't really matter if you could write an email correctly if you're sitting at lunch and if you didn't involve in conversation, they didn't like your attitude, whatever, it was going to reflect on your professionalism within that working environment. And that's what I had to catch on quickly, because of course you can't learn that until you're thrown into the lion's den on your own. So I guess that answers
the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So that was kind of the pros and cons there.
Now your internship has ended, right?
Right. It just recently ended September 1st.
You're actually looking for a job right now. So tell us, what were some of your expectations as far as looking for a job and finding a job right now? Have you been with your expectations, you've been pretty dead on, or are you finding things a little bit harder than what you expected?
Yes and no. I knew it would be challenged because I am looking for a job that is about an hour and a half away to 2 hours up in Dallas. I wasn't looking for anything local, so my connections with anything that again, I'm going to say it, my father had wasn't really as much of a help, and I knew that was going to be a deterrent, or not a deterrent, but an obstacle for me to overcome. However, also, I was trying to hold on to those father connections and stay in the oil field business as a database administrator, something on those lines. And the oil field market has hit a very bad rough patch right now. So whatever idea I had in my mind of, I guess, the avenue to go for a job, I'm kind of having to move to another line of field and kind of find my way there. I've noticed a lot, of, the concept of headhunters in doubt, people who are out there headhunting and finding a job. And, it sounds all good and great and wonderful until they kind of figure out their interests are probably more important than actually my interests, and they're just kind of trying to get a pay cut from trying to find somebody a job. So that was a good experience to go through. But besides that, I really, like, this past 2 weeks is when I've been really getting on it, just because it's just the timing, I guess. So
would you say has your mindset changed due to what you've actually experienced so far? Have you changed what you expected due to what you've actually gone through right now or so far?
Well, yes. No, of course. I think we just talked about this yesterday, how, it's only been 2 weeks, I know, and sometimes it takes people, months to find a job. But I feel like since I haven't been having that much luck, we talked about me maybe going back and getting my master's, and just because everybody else is in school right now. So what am I doing wrong? Is my qualifications not up to par? Do I need to get some experience elsewhere? And that's what's kind of deterred me from the actual working environment and wanting to just not say take the easy way out, because getting a master's isn't the easy way road, but going to the familiarity side, of course. Awesome. Staying close to home stuff.
I appreciate your feedback there, Michaela. Thanks for helping us all out.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
So I want to talk about real fast. One thing here is, our expectations. If we take our expectations versus reality, that difference makes up our disappointment. I hope that makes sense to you guys. So it's very important that we have the proper expectations, the proper mindset moving forward into your job search. Now, I want to bring up, I'm going to call on somebody here. I'm going to call on Jason. So, Jason, you there?
Oh, yep.
Cool deal. So, Jason, tell us, I know you had a chance to look at that document that I sent to you before. I just want to get a feedback from you. What are your thoughts on money? Good, bad, indifferent. What are your thoughts on money?
I probably have a different view than most people, I guess, because I made a lot of money and I guess decided to give it up. So my view is probably different than every student at A&M.
No, perfect. Go ahead. Why don't you explain a little bit of that to us?
I still own a nice house in San Antonio, a custom house in San Antonio. I drove a Mercedes. I worked at USAA. I had the job that a lot of the students want. I played the game. I went to the career fair and went to the USAA booth and said, "Tell me about your company." And the guy started telling me and told me stuff that's totally not legit, and was like, just kind of chuckled. And then he goes, "Do you have a resume?" And then when he looked at it, he kind of got upset and was like, "Why are you asking me?" Because he saw I worked there for theoretically 9 years, even though it wasn't 9 years, because I left for active duty service. So they don't stop your employment, so it looks like I worked there for 9 years, even though I only worked there for 4.5 years.
So would you say right now that your opinion of money is good or bad?
My opinion of money is that it's a necessity, that it makes people evil almost. That I understand that money makes the world go around, but I think people are driven by money, and that it's to me. I wrote, like we did an assignment in class today, that I just want to have a purpose in life. I want to help people, and that as long as I can pay my bills, I'm happy. That, like I said, I had all those nice things, and I had an emptiness, I guess. At the end of the day, I felt like I was empty, and money doesn't make you happy, I guess. That's for me. That's a very personal thing, I guess.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate your feedback there. So, Jason brings up a really good point here, and this is why I wanted to ask you guys that. The way you view money has a big impact on how hard you work for money. Okay. Now, most people have a very negative opinion about money, and for good reason. There's a lot of greed out in the world today. There's a lot of people that do a lot of bad things with money. However, if you think that money is bad, you will never reach your full potential. I don't think you can reach your full potential. And let me explain why. You go to school for a full year to try to learn what money is. Let me give you a short story of what money really is, okay? So let's say we all live in a village, all right? We're hundreds of years ago. We all live in this village, all right? And we're all hunter-gatherers, and we're all responsible for going out, killing, dragging home, cleaning, and feeding our families, okay? There's no economic structure in here. We just have to go out, kill, drag it home, clean it, and eat it. And let's say that, I'm not that great of a hunter, but you know what? I can build a really good roof, right? Let's say we live in a community where we all have these log homes, and I can build a really good roof. So I'm getting up one day, and I'm getting ready to go hunting because I got to go feed my family. And, getting ready to walk out there, and Dominic comes to me and goes, Jason, I got a problem. I said, okay, well, what's the problem? He said, well, it's supposed to rain. We can tell it's getting ready to rain, but my roof has a leak in it. I fixed this thing 5 times now, and every time I fix it, it always falls apart. I'm terrible at fixing a roof. But you have this great house. You fix roofs really well. Can you come help me fix my roof so my family doesn't have to get wet tonight? Well, being the kind-hearted soul that I am, I go and I help Dominic fix his roof, okay? Afterwards, the fixing the roof took us a little bit longer than we expected, and now I didn't have the time to go out and hunt and kill, drag home, clean, and feed my family. So my family's going to starve because I decided to go help Dominic fix his roof. So I tell Dominic, man, I was glad I could help you out, but, now I don't have any food for my family. Do you have anything extra that I can take home as a trade? Dominic says, man, Jason, I really wish I had. I just have enough for my family tonight, and unfortunately, I really can't give you anything. However, I had this idea. David down the road, he wanted me to build him a boat because I'm the best boat builder in the village. But I just haven't had any time to build him a boat, but I'm going to have time later this week to build him a boat, and David is a great hunter. Matter of fact, I know he's got extra food at his house right now. Why don't you tell David that you did me a favor, and it would be a favor to me for him to repay you the favor, and then, I'll build him a boat this weekend. And I think to myself, okay, that's an interesting idea. Well, how is David going to know that I helped you, that I served you to help you to fix your roof? So Dominic thinks for a minute. He says, you know what? I have this jewel, this pearl necklace that I made, and David knows it belongs to me because he saw me make it. You go take this pearl necklace to David. Tell him that you got this from me as a token, as a certificate of service. Tell him that you're going to give him that certificate of service. If he will feed your family, bring that certificate, that pearl necklace back to me next week, so I know that he served you. I'll go ahead and build your boat. Do you guys see what's happening here? I want to bring somebody up here real fast. Brianda, according to that story, do you see how money got started? Let me unmute you here real quick, Brianda. Do you understand the concept of that story, Brianda? Are you there?
Like having like an insurance or something.
Say that again. Go ahead and speak up a little bit.
Like having like assurance of something, like a trade for something, and like you can't just like you know what I mean? Like
it's a
knowing it's gonna get
certificate, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And so now if you see money as a certificate of service, you don't get paid unless you serve somebody else. Because here's the reality. We all can't go and hunt and kill and drag home every day. But we all need a roof fixed. We all need, we need somebody to build these desks. We need somebody to build our computers. We need somebody to build our phones. So how are we going to get people to build our phones if they're sitting there trying to go hunt every day? We have to have a means of exchange. That is what money is. Money is nothing more than a tool, okay? It's a tool that can build, or it's a tool that can destroy. What makes money good or bad is our motivation for having it. And we're going to talk about the 4 motivators here real fast. Our 4 motivators, everybody's motivated by these 4 things, okay? It's wisdom, respect of others, power, and wealth. So let's talk about that just real fast, okay? So wisdom. Wisdom is soundness of actions based on the proper use of knowledge, experience, and good judgment. People, a lot of times, so the Wilbur and Orville Wright, they wanted to build the first plane, okay? And so they would take actions, develop knowledge and experience, and take better actions the next time. Matter of fact, the story goes that every day, Wilbur and Orville would take 5 sets of parts to the airfield every day because they figured they're going to crash the plane 5 times before they came back in for dinner. Think about that. But the purpose of them doing that is so they can build the knowledge and the experience and the good judgment so they can make a plane fly. So wisdom is a motivator for us. Understanding how things work, that's a motivator for us. Respect. Respect is being admired deeply because of our abilities, qualities, or achievements. Most men want respect in some way, fashion, or form. Most men desire respect. Power. Power is having the strength or resources to bring about change in the world. So if you're a weightlifter, you have to have the strength or the resources to lift those weights off the ground. That brings change to your world. Same thing with money. If you have money, you can either use that money to build charities, or you can use that money to corrupt politicians. Okay? Money itself was not the good or the evil. It's the motivation behind it. And of course, wealth. Wealth is the abundance of valuable resources. Those are our 4 motivators. Now, Jason brought up a great point here about money having the ability to corrupt people. And it's really not money. To me, I think it's because people get the building blocks of success wrong. Just like Samuel Langley, he wanted wealth. So he put wealth, if you look at this on these building blocks here, wealth was his primary building block. It didn't help him out. He strove for it, and he couldn't figure out how to build the airplane because he had the wrong motivation. He had the motivation in the wrong order. Does that make sense? However, when you look at the Orville and Wilbur Wright, who became very wealthy for developing the airplane, they started with wisdom. They wanted to know how the world really worked. And so they started with wisdom. From that wisdom, they got respect of others because they figured out how to make the airplane fly. They got respect of others. That respect led to them starting a business. They were able to have some power behind them. Okay, they were able to have some extra resources. Eventually, they were able to sell off the business and get a lot of wealth. Okay, but the reason they were able to do that is because they had the building blocks in order. Wisdom, followed by respect, followed by power, followed by wealth. It is very important for you guys to understand that dynamic. If you go about thinking that money in itself is evil, you will never reach your full potential. Can money corrupt? No. Power can corrupt. Wealth can corrupt. Okay? Money itself is just, money is nothing more than an idea of value. If we all wanted, the entire culture could go out and say, you know what? This marker here, it's very valuable. We're not going to exchange dollars anymore. We're not going to exchange coins anymore. We're going to trade markers as our currency, right? So if you have an orange marker, that's going to be worth this. If you have a green marker, it's going to be worth that. And we're just going to exchange markers as currency. Money in itself is nothing but an idea. It's spiritual, really. Now you think about that for a minute. Money is a spiritual reality because it's a reality based on value, what we put value on. It's not a physical reality. In and of itself, it cannot corrupt. It cannot blind. It can't even do good in and of itself. Money is nothing more than a system of value. And when you understand that, that's when you can start realizing that, hey, you know what? Going out there and getting this job and getting paid for serving my fellow human beings, for providing a service that makes everybody's lives better. If I go out and I invent the next best phone and I enable millions of people to communicate across the world in a fashion that's never been done before, I serve millions of people. With that wisdom comes respect, comes power, and then comes wealth. It's in that order. If I go out there trying to be wealthy, it'll never happen. Okay? So as we start developing wisdom, this requires us to recognize myths. Okay? A myth is something we believe in our spirit to be true, but reality is different. Okay? That's what a myth is. It's something we believe to be true, but reality is totally different. So here's some myths, right? Finding a job after college will be quick and easy. Okay? That's a myth. Companies hire the most qualified candidate. Think about that for a minute. That's a myth. Companies keep my resume on hand for the next opening. Myth. That's a big myth. Here's the biggest myth of all. My interviewer knows what they're doing. My interviewer knows what they're doing. These are all myths, and these are all myths that you guys need to recognize to be able to change your mindset so you can be successful in the business world. By the way, these principles aren't just for business. They're for your families. They're universal. They're for your families. They're for your friends. If you guys start off with the right mindset for your relationships, you start off with the right mindset for your employment, you start off with the right mindsets for anything. If you understand the mindset first, you can accomplish so much more. So let's look at what companies really do hire for. So companies don't hire your resume. They don't hire your LinkedIn profile. They don't even hire good interviewers. Companies hire solutions to problems. So this is how you need to change your mindset. A lot of you guys are going out there thinking that my resume, my LinkedIn profile, or being a good interviewer, knowing what to say in the interview will get me hired. That is not what gets you hired. What gets you hired is you have the ability to show the company that you are a solution to their problem. So what is a job opportunity? Okay? A job opportunity is a problem that the company has and they need your help to solve. All opportunities are like that. An opportunity is a problem that somebody has that I have the opportunity to solve. Right? It's serving others. We're going back to that word, serving others. I must learn to find out. This is a mindset that you need to take. I must learn to find out what the company's problem is and then communicate how I will help if I want to get hired. Okay? Companies go out there and say, hey, we're looking for an accountant. Well, really, they may or may not be looking for an accountant. They might just be looking for somebody to come in there and assist the main accountant. They just might need somebody to go in there and run files, right? They don't know what to call them. They just need somebody to do file work in the accounting department. They just call them an accountant, right? If you go in there and you apply, hey, I'm an accountant, and these are my credentials. Well, what you did is you just put yourself in direct competition with probably 200 other applicants who are going there saying the same thing. Hey, you know what? You say you're an accountant. Here I am. Here are my credentials. The reality is, if you understand, hey, you know what? The head accountant, they're overwhelmed. They need somebody who has the ability to take initiative. They need to have the ability for somebody to come and learn quickly. They need to have somebody who just comes in and makes their life easier. If you understand what the problem isn't the accounting. The problem is I have an accountant that's stressed out, right? I have an accountant that's stressed out, and I have the ability to go in there, and with my work ethic and with my initiative that I take, I can make their life easier. That's what gets you hired. Nothing else. Everything else, companies lie all the time what they're really looking for, because a lot of times they don't know what they're looking for. They're just trying to fill a position. You have to take it upon yourself to be able to identify what the real problem is. You have to be able to identify what the real problem is. That's when you set yourself apart from everybody else. Everybody else is going there with credentials first. Hey, this is what I can do. I'm hoping that the guy who's coming in after me can't do more than me. But if you identify the problem, you let the company know that you understand their needs. Many times, that's all you need to get hired. Okay? So let's review real quick. We live in two realities, spiritual and physical. Okay? Spiritual is anything that we can't see, touch, taste, feel, smell, right? Physical is anything we can touch in the real world. Money is a tool. It's no different than this computer. It's no different than this phone. It's no different than this marker. It's just a tool. Money in itself is not bad. Your motivators can be bad, right? What are 4 motivators? Wisdom, respect of others, power, and wealth. The intentions behind those motivations can make money good or bad. But guess who gets to decide that? You get to decide that. Your mindset decides if you're going to have good intentions or bad intentions with the money that you earn by serving other people. Okay? Developing wisdom requires recognizing myths. Developing wisdom requires recognizing myths. And lastly, companies hire solutions to problems. Companies hire, they don't hire resumes, they don't hire LinkedIn profiles, they hire solutions to problems. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and open up the mics real quick and let's get some feedback in here. So let's see here. Let's get Branda, David. Yeah, let's go ahead and open up everybody here.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So real quick, do you guys have any questions about what we talked about right now? First of all, let me see this. So Rocio, I haven't heard from you tonight. What do you think so far about the material that we covered tonight?
I mean, I definitely agree that, you know, money isn't everything. Like when I first came to A&M, I wanted to be a doctor, and I realized that that wasn't my thing, and I realized that I was just doing it for the money because, you know, most of the people in my family, they're engineers, and I mean, I was gonna go. If I didn't choose something that brought me money, then I was a failure. And you know, now that I've experienced a little bit more, I realize that what I really want is to just, you know, like Jason, have a purpose in life and just help people. That's what I mainly want to do.
So
and, I mean,
you're looking for wisdom, right?
Yes.
You're wanting to figure out something that can make everybody's life better. Serving other people, right?
Right.
Awesome. What about you, Lee? What do you think about what we covered tonight?
I agreed with whoever just talked just now. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. But yeah, so with money, like money was the thing that tore my family apart when I was younger. So growing up, I always like felt that money was kind of like the destroyer.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that my parents argued about was just money. So that was really hard on me then, and I guess seeing that when I was younger, I grew up with that mindset, and so when I first came into college, I didn't want my my family to have that issue when I get a husband. So I wanted to be a petroleum engineer, so that way money won't be an issue where it'll be really abundant. So we just wouldn't fight about it. And
you know, Lee, I'm gonna challenge you on that real quick because that's a very common thought. The more money you have, the better off you'll be. That is typically not the case. I'll tell you why. It goes down to our 4 motivators, right? Families, it doesn't matter the level of money that you have. If you have the priorities wrong, if you're seeking wealth first opposed to wisdom and then respect of others and power and wealth being last, you will always fight about money. And I'll give you kind of a analogy here. You have an idea of how you should use your money, and your spouse will have an idea on how you should use their money. The vast majority of the time, those ideas will not match. Okay? So what you're going to have to do, that's why there's fights. Usually you have a spender in the family and you have a saver. The vast majority of divorces happen because of financial reasons. It happens because of financial arguments. The way that you're going to save yourself and your family, that dilemma, is for you guys, you and your future husband, to get on the same page with the same mindset about money. If you view money as one way and he views money as another way, you're going to clash. But if you can communicate and you can get to a point where, hey, you know what? Money is just a tool. Doesn't matter how much we have or how little we have. It's just a tool for us to make it. It's just a certificate of our service to the world. That's all it is. It's a certificate that we receive, and now we're able to take that certificate of service and go and get service for ourselves because we need to eat. You know, you're a petroleum engineer. You're not raising crops, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not able to go build your desk. So you have to have that certificate of service saying, hey, I served other people, and so as proof of that, here's money, and now I would like you to help serve me. That's what money is. If you guys, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why, cause so in high school I had that mindset. I even had an engineering internship, and I was set. Like the company said, just go get your degree and come back. And once I started taking the classes, I hated it, and I wasn't doing anything that I wanted to do. I didn't do it because like I liked what I was doing. The only reason I did petroleum engineering was just because of the money. And a few years ago, like I think my sophomore junior year, between there, I decided I can't do this anymore. And in my family, since like money was such an issue, it was kind of like a good, I guess like a great status, I guess. So yeah, like when I told my parents like, hey parents, I can't do this anymore. I'm not doing engineering. I'm going to go into HR. And they're like, why? Like,
Yeah.
and then yeah, they're like, why? You're not doing anything like with that. Like you're gonna have a regular salary and you're not gonna have a good life and blah blah blah. So I was like, you know what? Well, I'm doing something I want to do, and that makes me happy. So you guys just have to get over yourself. So, and then
the cool thing about that, Lee, though, is we won't get a lot into this in this discussion here, but money is a discipline too. So it doesn't matter how much money you have; it matters how you treat that money when you have it. All right. So just because they say you won't have any money, you know, there's a lot of people who started out far less than what you have, made it far less than what you have, and now are doing fairly well because they are good disciples of the money. They're good stewards of the money they have. So don't follow that path. You know, you want to do HR because, you know, you have the motivator, you want to have wisdom, you want to help others. Awesome. Follow that path, but don't resign yourself to a poverty either. Okay.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Sounds good. Yes.
Awesome. David,
I
is that on you
agree.
yet?
Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts, man?
I don't know. I'm just kind of listening to everybody's input. I mean, I guess I agree with the majority of everything that's been said. Yeah.
Okay. What first thing that comes to your mind about money, good or bad?
Good.
Awesome. You know, you can do a lot of good in the world with money. You know, a lot of people talk about the greed of Wall Street as if that's the only thing that money does. But you look at all the charities in the world, you look at all the wells that are built in Africa, well, somebody has to pay for that, right? So it's people with the good motivations that end up paying for those things. So you can say, hey, I don't want to have any money and not make any difference in the world outside of what you do for work. Or you can make money where you have a little bit of an abundance where now you can start making dents in lives of people that are suffering or hurting, because it takes money to do that kind of stuff. You know, it takes money to build charities. It takes money to help homeless people. It takes money to, you know, help orphans. So money in itself can be a great tool to build things up. Brianda, you there?
Yes.
Awesome. What's the biggest thing that stuck out to you in this lesson here?
I guess you have to know what you want, like what's like motivates you. When I started out college, like I really wanted to be a geneticist, but again, I didn't really like that. So then like I decided to go into HR, and then like I realized that I wanted to work for a non-for-profit. And like everybody tells me, why do you want to work for a non-for-profit? You'll make more money working for a for-profit organization. But like I really enjoy like animals and stuff, so I want to work for PetSmart charities, and like I think that would that's what motivates me to like for the money and stuff like that, like to work for PetSmart Charities.
Awesome. Tahira, are you there? Tahira?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. So what are your thoughts tonight about this lesson? What jumped out at you?
The last one you said companies hire solutions to the problems.
Yeah.
But I don't see that this way.
So why not?
I see most of the people are hired just because like companies come to A&M for suppose and if you go to the career fair, I never see any of the recruiter discussing any problems for like specifically that we want to hire for this area or this. They mostly say, okay, you are a PhD in this subject, yeah, we need 2 PhDs or 3 masters, or we have openings for internship for undergrad. I don't see anyone discussing like we have this problem specifically and we want to hire people working in this area.
Yeah, that's a great point. And let me tell you this real fast to hear, because it goes back to our myth, right? The interviewer knows what they're doing. You know, in your brain is broken up into 2 parts. You have the limbic part of your brain and you have the cerebral cortex part of your brain, okay? Your decisions are made in the limbic part of your brain. Do you know what the limbic part of your brain is? No. That's where you store your emotions.
Okay.
We don't make decisions based on how we rationalize. We rationalize after we decide. That's the science behind it. That's not me. What happens is in the limbic part of our brain, okay, we think that people go about and they gather all the information possible and then they make an intelligent decision. That is never how it happens. What usually happens is we're so busy, we're behind on work, we're short-staffed, I got problems at home, I don't have time to make an intelligent decision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for shortcuts. Okay? The problem that I have is I don't have time, so I'm looking for shortcuts on who to hire. That's why I throw out these stupid things like, hey, I'm looking for somebody with 5 years experience. No, you're not. You're looking for a solution to problems. Companies hire all the time. They have these things that, hey, I want somebody with a college degree and I want somebody with 5 years experience. More often than not, they hire somebody who doesn't have those qualifications because it's an emotional decision. I don't have any degree. The job that I got at the company that I went and worked for, they were looking for somebody with 5 years experience and then looking for somebody with a bachelor's degree. I had neither of those. I had 1 year experience in oil and gas. But you know what? When I went to that interview, I just showed them I could do it. They were so short-staffed that they couldn't wait around to find the most qualified candidate. They can't. Companies can't do it. They have a problem. They need a solution. They're going to take the first opportunity to fill that solution. They're not going to spend time waiting for the best candidate. So I can see where you're coming from, but even the science tells us that companies hire solutions to problems. And this is something that you and I can talk to offline a little bit, but don't fall into that myth. Companies do not hire the most qualified candidate, and the interviewer does not know what they're doing. So that means as interviewees, we have to know how to dig out what the real problem is and then show how we're going to be a solution to that problem. Okay?
Okay.
Michaela, you on there?
Sure am.
Awesome. What do you think about this?
Well, I'm going to skip over the wealth and respect for others, power, and wisdom and go down to the companies hire solutions to problems again. And I mean, that's a great, I guess I never thought of it. You know, it's always kind of just handing your resume and hoping that my qualifications match their objectives for the interview, you know. And now I'm going to really look into what the exact problem was for that whatever job I'm going for, and how I can tailor my answers to whatever question that they give me throughout the entire interview to fix or to go into entail to their solution, if that makes sense. Just always kind of go back to fixing their problem, because that's ultimately what it is. You know, they might need 5 years experience, or say they need 5 years experience.
Right.
No, they just think that 5 years experience, a person with 5 years experience will be able to solve their problem, because they think that experience makes a solution. But honestly, you could probably get, you know, you don't need the 5 years. If you just have that one solution, you know, in 2 months, you're gonna help them out to what they need to do.
Awesome. So you know, Michaela, I want to talk to you tomorrow, and you probably need to get with Dominic before your interview Monday.
Okay.
I want to talk to you tomorrow and see if we can start brainstorming on how you can just nail that interview Monday. Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Cool deal, guys. Well, it's about 9:30. Does anybody have anything to add? Any additional questions? Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask about the
Well, I
material?
want to add something real quick. I want to add that money for everyone here. Just to piggyback off of what I said, mine's personal. For those that don't know my situation, I know you know a little bit about me, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
My situation is being a wounded warrior. The reason why I feel the way I feel, so many people help me get to where I am, and that's why I want to help and give back.
Yeah.
I have no problems feeling like money for some people is awesome and great. If you want to be wealthy and be powerful and be respected due to money, great, more power to you. But I wouldn't be speaking to you guys and be part of this if so many people haven't helped me along the way. So I kind of feel it's a duty. It's just a personal thing. So don't feel like I'm like being like you have to give back and money this, that, and the other. It's just a personal thing. So I'm just saying that's just me. So that's why, and I did make that comment that it is a necessity. You do have to pay bills, like you said. You do got to pay rent. You got a car payment. There's things you got to do. But for me personally, I wouldn't be speaking to you guys. I wouldn't be at A&M if so many people didn't help me. If doctors, the PAs, the nurses, I've had 14 surgeries. I mean, I just feel that it's a duty of mine to pay it forward. That's why. So who would I be if I just took the money and run, basically?
That brings up a great question I'm going to ask you, Jason. What kind of doctor do you want? Do you want a doctor that's motivated by wisdom, which is, hey, I want to learn as much as there is to know about the human body that I can so I can help other people in their health? Or do you want a doctor that's motivated by wealth? Which one do you want to go to?
I want the one that's motivated by wisdom and always wants to constantly learn, and it's not the one that's just greed and just it's not the money, power, respect doctor. That's just me personally.
That's perfect because those other things follow, but if it's not the main motivator, that's gonna save you guys so much stress in life. Okay, that's gonna save you so much stress if the main motivator for the work that you're doing is wisdom and it's not those other three things. Those things are a byproduct of that. In Jewish culture, if they are hurting financially. Now, one thing you have to know about Jewish culture, Jews make up less than 1% of the entire world population. Okay, matter of fact, they make up less than 0.2%. So not even 20% of 1%. They make up less than 0.2% of the world population. But they own over 12% of the world's wealth. Okay, and this has been going on for generations. This isn't just something that they've, hey, this last century they've done this. Generations they've done this. Okay, and one of the things that they teach in the culture is that if you are hurting for money, don't ask God for money. Instead, what they pray for is, God, I'm somebody that I can help, that I can serve. Help me serve somebody where I can earn some money. That's the whole mindset about it. That mindset of, hey, we're going to start with wisdom, serve other people, help me learn all I can about my craft, help me learn all I can about people. That has made them the most dominant group of people in the world when it comes to finances. It really has. It's that idea of, hey, I'm not praying for money. I'm praying for people to serve, and it's that wisdom factor there. So that's great, guys. Anybody else before we close out the night?
No.
Awesome. So real quick, just your action steps. I'm going to have mute you guys real fast. We're going to go through this, and we'll close out the night here. So here's some action steps I want you guys to take, okay? Because remember, what I gave you tonight is knowledge. They say knowledge is power. That's a lie. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge in action is power, okay? So I want to give you some action steps so you go from the knowledge up in your head to the knowledge in your heart, all right? A couple action steps. 1, money is a tool. It can be used to build or destroy. Knowing how you can use your money for good is very important if you want to succeed in your career. I want each of you to write down one way that you can use your money to do good in the world around you. Okay? So one way. That's all you need to do. 2, And this is a prep for next week when we talk about networking. Wisdom is sound actions that are taken based on your knowledge, experience, and good judgment, or somebody else's. Write down the name of the 3 wisest people you know. So it's 3 people that you know have knowledge, experience, and good judgment. Who are the wisest people you know? And I want you to write down why you think they're that way. All right, I want you to start thinking about that. Why do you think they're wise? Last thing, companies hire solutions to problems. I want you to set up a time to talk to Dominic this week, and I know Dominic's on the call, but for whatever reason he can't really talk right now. Something wrong with his computer, but I want you guys, it's in the email I sent you, his number. I want you guys to set up a time with Dominic this week to begin strategizing how you can start positioning yourself or thinking of ways where you can make yourself solutions to problems and separate yourself from other job candidates. Remember, other job candidates are leading, hey, this is my experience. I hope there's somebody who's not more experienced than me. I don't want you thinking that way anymore. I want to change your mindset to, hey, this is your problem, and this is how I want to help you solve your problem. Okay? With that, we're done for the evening. I'm going ahead and send you guys a follow-up email tomorrow just to cover what we talked about tonight. And if you guys have any questions, every one of you have my phone number. Feel free to text me or call me when you guys get a chance. So with that, we're going to head and stop recording.